Okay, here we go. Let's start this off with Jordan Walker, but let's go back to 2023. He was the number 4 prospect in all of baseball at one point. People were very excited about the bat, and he had himself a pretty good year last year, hitting 276, a 342 on base, 445 on the slugging, a 116 WRC+. Pretty solid rookie year overall, but he has been struggling mightily so far in 2024 through 20 games, only hitting 155, a 239 on base, a 259 slugging, a 44 WRC+. He had been just miserable at the plate lately, 0 for his last 14. This caused him to get sent back down to the minors for the second year in a row. Remember last year, got off to the hot start, 12-game hitting streak. They sent him down to work on some things, called him back up eventually, but it's happened again for the second straight year. He definitely needs to go work on some things down in the minor leagues and definitely needs to turn it around. Let's move on to Randy Arozarena, and we're so used to Randy being one of the more fun players in the game, the arm crosses, but I don't think he's having that much fun so far this year. 26 games, only hitting 153, a 231 on base, a 255 slugging, 48 WRC+. He did homer the other day, so maybe that's a good sign of things to come, but he's just not really doing anything so far this year. A negative Fangraph WAR at negative 0.3. You know, the Rays, they got off to that hot start last year. It felt like everyone was talking about the Rays, and I feel like you haven't heard really anything about the Rays. Right now, their offense is more middle of the road, 16th overall. You know, not bad, but not good either. So they really need Randy to start picking it up. Remember this past offseason when Jonathan India was in the rumor mill? People thought he was going to get traded, but then he avoided arbitration, signed that 2-year deal. But here he is now, off to a bad start. It's not just Jonathan India, it's also Jeimer Candelario as well. Big free agent signing for them. He's off to a slow start. But India, you know, this is a guy last year, you know, he had that rookie of the year a few years ago, and it looked like maybe the bat was starting to pick back up again last year, but it's off to a slow start again this year. Hitting 182, a 319 on base, the 234 slugging. I mean, a negative Fangraph WAR at 0.3. He definitely needs to start picking this up. And, you know, Jeimer Candelario as well. You know, this guy's making $15 million per year, and these numbers are abysmal. Only hitting 167, a 68 WRC+. You know, luckily for the Reds, you know, they got these other guys really stepping up. Ellie De La Cruz has been awesome so far this year. Jake Fraley, Spencer Steer, you know, Stevenson's got in on the action, Will Benson as well. So these guys, imagine if they start picking this up, man, this Reds offense is going to look really good, but they really could use some more. They're only 24th overall in WRC+ right now. So yeah, India, Candelario, let's start picking this up a little bit. I hate doing this next one, but what is going on here with Corbin Carroll? He was amazing last season, winning Rookie of the Year, made it to the World Series, but it looks like he's going through a sophomore slump. 25 games, only hitting 202, a 313 on base, a 253 slugging, a 69 WRC+. The legs are still working. 8 stolen bases. You know this guy's going to cause havoc on the base paths. And taking a look at StatCast, I'm noticing some of the advanced numbers are down. Now, the strikeout to walk ratio is still excellent, but the batted ball profile is definitely down from last year. Now, it wasn't excellent last year, but it has definitely dropped off some. Now, taking a look a little further into the batted ball profile, I'm seeing he's getting a lot more under on the ball compared to last year, and he's getting on top of the ball. That tells me he's simply just not squaring up the ball right now. That could be a bit of a mechanical issue going on, maybe even a bit of a timing issue, but I do think he'll figure it out. I do think Corbin Carroll is going to be fine. I think he's just going through a little bit of a slump here, the good old sophomore slump. He'll be fine, but yeah, we need to start picking it up a little bit. The Mariners offense got off to a bad start, but they've been stepping it up lately. 5th in WRC+ over the last 7 games. A lot of guys have been stepping up. Julio Rodriguez, he's been a madman as of late, hitting 448 with a 208 WRC+ over his last 7 games. Cal Riley with a few bombs over his last 7. JP Crawford, Josh Rojas, Dylan Moore, they've been stepping it up, but a few of the offseason acquisitions are very cold to start off the year. Now, Mitch Garver, this is a guy they brought in, $12 million per year, supposed to add some pop to the middle of that order, and he has done the opposite of that. He has a couple of home runs, but he's only hitting 143, a 265 on base, a 271 slugging. He definitely needs to start picking this up a little bit. We got Jorge Polanco, who they traded for, only an 87 WRC+. Remember, they brought in Luke Raley, too, from the Rays. He was pretty good last year, and he only has a 24 WRC+. What is going on with these few guys? They need to step it up. But luckily for the Mariners, a lot of the other guys have been stepping up. Hey everyone, real quick, just want to shout out today's sponsor, and that's BetUS. So I was taking a look at some of the run lines earlier, and I see the Royals and the Tigers. I see the Tigers are at -1.5, but at +180. If we go take a look at the Tigers offense so far this year, 25th in WRC plus on the year and only 23rd in the last 7. They have not been performing well, and tonight they got a tough task. Brady Singer on the Royals. I don't think this is a good matchup for the Tigers here. If you take that -1.5 at +180, that is a good value. If you threw down $50, that would win you $90. That's a very good value. I'm going to drop that. So head on over to BetUS. Go check out the other lines going on right now, whether it's run lines or the money lines. Go check out some other sports. I do think this bet here is a good value, but make sure whatever bet you place, make sure it's responsible at the end of the day. That's the most important thing. But go win yourself some cash. Go check out the link down below in the description. You get a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Clicking that link and signing up really helps support the channel. So go check it out. Go check out BetUS. But let's get back to the video. Let's take a break from the hitters. Let's talk about some pitching, and let's start with Kyle Hendricks. He's having a very bad start to the year after a good year last year. Had an ERA at 3.74, FIP at a 3.81, but through 5 starts so far, ERA is at a 12, FIP is at a 7.69. Taking a look at his starts, he's gotten hit hard in every single start. He had back-to-back starts where he gave up 7 earned runs in each. He's on the IL right now with a lower back issue, so let's see if during that time he can figure some things out. But I'm taking a look at some of the pitches here. The changeup and the sinker, the pitches that he went with the most last year, were pretty effective for him, but this year they are not. Hitters were only hitting 180 against the changeup last year, but that's gone up to 261 this year, and a slugging of 500 compared to 279 last year. And the sinker, it did get hit last year, but it's getting hit even more this year. Hitters are hitting 500 against it with a 789 slugging. So he's got to figure out his 2 go-to pitches. Let's move on to Joe Musgrove. And since going to the Padres a few years ago, he has been fantastic, but this year, not so much. 7 starts, ERA at a 6.94, FIP at a 6.55, a negative 0.6 Fangraph WAR. The strikeout numbers are down, the walk numbers are up, the home run numbers are way up. He's giving up 2.3 home runs per 9 right now, leaving a lot of pitches over the plate. He's just getting hammered. Luckily for the Padres, Dylan Cease has been an amazing pickup for them, but Joe Musgrove, this is a guy at the top of their rotation. He's supposed to be doing a lot more than this. The Astros struggles have been the talk of the town, and this bullpen has not performed as expected. They brought in Hader on a big deal this past offseason. The back end of the bullpen was supposed to be nasty. Hader, Presley, and Abreu, but so far the numbers are not there. Now, ERA is very high for Hader, but the FIP is a lot better at 2.71. Strikeout numbers still look really good, so I do expect this ERA to come back down at some point. Ryan Presley, same thing, high ERA at a 7.45, FIP at a 2.81. So not really worried about those guys long term, but Brian Abreu, what's going on with Brian Abreu here? ERA at a 4.97, but a FIP at a 7.15. Strikeout numbers are down, walk numbers are up, the home run numbers are way up, and I'm also noticing his velocity is a little down. 97.6 on average last year, down to 96.7 this year, so I wonder if there's something going on there. I mean, the Astros are having a lot of issues right now, not just in the bullpen, but this bullpen was supposed to be a lot better than this. Let's get back to some hitters. Let's talk about the Tigers, only 25th in WRC plus. Now, they got a few guys doing really well. Mark Kahn has been a great pickup for them so far, hitting 271 with a 518 slugging, 5 home runs. Riley Green is performing very well with a 467 slugging and a 148 WRC plus. Kerry Carpenter's got a few homers this year with a 506 slugging. But take a look here. Spencer Torkelson, Colt Keith, and Javier Baez. I mean, we all know what's been going on with Javier Baez for a while now, but these 3 guys, especially Torkelson, really need to pick it up. You know, Torkelson made a lot of strides last year, only hitting 222 so far with a 303 slugging, a negative Fangraph WAR. I mean, my goodness, you know, Torkelson, this is a number 1 pick here. He's got to start performing. more consistently. Colt Keith, now I know he's in his rookie year. There's a lot of promise with him. I do expect the numbers to get better over time, but these are very poor numbers. I wonder if he ends up going back down to the minors at some point, has a few options left. And Javier Baez, I feel like he's just a lost cause at this point. At this point, you got him for the glove, really. This bat is just abysmal. He doesn't seem like he wants to work on anything at the plate. I don't know what's going on with Javier Baez, but these Tigers, they need to start stepping it up here for this lineup to be just a lot better as a whole. Over the last 7 games, the Phillies are 3rd in WRC+. You got a lot of guys hitting well lately. Alec Boehm is on fire, hitting .552 over his last 7. Harper's hitting well. Marsh, Real Muto, Johan Rojas, Trey Turner's had a good season so far, but I'm looking at Nick Castellanos. They brought him in a couple of years ago, 5-year, $100 million deal. A couple of years ago, had a very bad season. Last year, really stepped it up, 29 home runs, a 109 WRC+, 476 slugging. But this year, a very bad start, only hitting 178, a 31 WRC+. You're not going to get a lot of defense with Castellanos, so he really needs to be more productive with the bat, and you're not getting anything out of this bat right now. Let's wrap this up by getting back to the Astros, and of course, we have to talk about Jose Abreu. This is looking like one of the worst signings of all time. He was awful last year, picked it up towards the end of the season, was pretty good in the postseason, but my goodness, 20 games so far, he's hitting .081, a 147 on base, a .097 slugging, a -28 WRC+, a -1.1 Fangraph WAR. Again, looking like one of the worst signings of all time, a 3-year, $58.5 million deal, and this is the production that you're getting. My goodness. The Astros offense has been pretty good this year. They're 5th overall in WRC+, but Jose Abreu, my goodness, we got to pick this up, man. Alex Bregman, too. You could look at him, 23 games. He's off to a slow start, hitting .216, a 70 WRC+. If the Astros fall out of it, Bregman's a free agent after this year. I would expect if the Astros sell, Bregman is definitely going to be a piece. So he definitely needs to start picking it up here. But overall, I think just the Astros need to pick it up. But these are the players that I wanted to talk about today. So let me know some other players down below in the comments. Let me know what you think about these players so far. Do you think they'll turn it around? But that's all I have for right now, everyone. If you can on the way out, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.